To be playing Sega Genesis with bros. Now I'm gaming with some folks on the other side the globe. Used to go through a label if you trying to blow. Now people got more.
Let's have some fun. Talk about NXT. Great American Bash Part 1, July the 30th, 2024. First news and notes, we got to talk about apparently Raw, Reality of Wrestling, Booker T's school, and NXT had made some kind of deal where NXT Level Up talent will be featured on Reality of Wrestling going forward. That ought to be fun. It continues more partnerships with NXT, more opportunities for the talent. That's a good thing. I fully support that. I don't necessarily support Hank and Tank breaking into the Performance Center because they want to host NXT. This went nowhere. I think they only popped up one time after this. It literally meant nothing. Match 1, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, The Metaphor versus Isla Dawn and Alba Fire for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire clearly won this match, but Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson were impressive. Jakara Jackson was actually very impressive. Lash Legend, a lot has been said about her improvement. I just wish there was some further we could do with them as characters. I said before, and people kind of shouted at me a little bit. I'm going to say it again because I like the attention. But there probably should be women's tag team titles on NXT. NXT as a brand, that is the way that they're pushing the women, they need to have their own championships. I don't see why they're sharing titles with Raw and SmackDown. Raw and SmackDown don't even use the goddamn belts. They barely use the women as it is. NXT actually does use them. So NXT probably need their own women's titles instead of the traveling championships. Even though I know that Triple H doesn't really care about tag team wrestling either. Even though I heard that he was supposed to care. He don't. Ethan Page came out after the match to mock the Metaphor for losing, and then said that he hopes that Oro Mensah gets the same amount of support when he loses. He got in the ring, got in Oro Mensah's face. Oro Mensah then rolled him up, and Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend pinned him. Well, they counted 3. Ethan Page is losing his mind. And they still doing the 1, 2, 3 gimmick. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. They did a contract signing later with Ethan Page saying that this is a gift that Oro Mensah doesn't even deserve. And Oro Mensah saying that this all started with Ethan Page attacking Noam Dar and himself, and that he's been chasing his face ever since. He got no respect for Ethan Page because Ethan Page can't handle that he got pinned by him in a tag team match. So they're going to have a championship match next week. Let's just get it over with. I don't hate Oro Mensah. I really don't. But there's not much to this. Oro Mensah doesn't have a chance of winning. It's just a good showcase for him. So let's just get it over with. Ethan Page just is tremendously bland. It's just nothing he does jumps out at me and sticks with me. Again, he just comes across like Bobby Roode. Perfectly serviceable heel. Needs a storyline to be more interesting. And this is okay, but it makes Ethan Page look silly as well. Cedric Alexander was given a lecture in the Performance Center. I started yawning. And Sean Spears said that he was in no position to teach anybody anything because he tried to teach Trick Williams something. Trick Williams told him to kick rocks and then beat him in a match. He said, meanwhile, he's changing young Brooks Jensen's life. Cedric Alexander started talking. Brooks Jensen screamed at him. They had a match later. So the hillbilly Sami Zayn, what we call Brooks Jensen, got beat by Cedric Alexander in a match. Okay, it happened. I wasn't impressed one way or the other. It just kind of happened. I don't get Brooks Jensen. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I hate Sean Spears being involved with this. At least Cedric Alexander is winning matches, if we have to look at the bright side. Tavion Heights, he cut a promo listing all of his resume as an amateur wrestler and a shooter, saying that he respects Tony D'Angelo because of his amateur wrestling background, and said that he respects Tony D'Angelo as a shooter as well. Tony D'Angelo also respects Tavion Heights as a shooter, but says that he doesn't just represent his family outside the ring. He also represents it in the ring, and he doesn't just represent his country every 4 years. They had one of the better Heritage Cup matches. Tony D'Angelo wins the match 2-1. He wins it in the 5th round. Tony D'Angelo wins the first fall, which was in the 3rd round. Tavion Heights gets a big pep talk from Ren Sinclair, which brings him out in the 4th round and pretty much kills Tony D'Angelo with a bunch of suplexes and clotheslines and stuff, and ended up pinning him. So he won the 4th round, and then Tavion lost the 5th round. But it was one of the better Heritage Cup matches that they've ever put together. So it wasn't too bad. Tavion Heights, boy, that kid's got a future. He's big. His hair is curly. He knows what he's doing. And he looks good. Wrestling. He seems to be an amateur wrestler that is transitioning quite well. He needs a gimmick, clearly. Maybe a haircut. I don't know. But he's got something. And this is working out fine. So they did a gimmick with Pete Dunne. Now, I want to stop here for a little bit because I actually did like this. Pete Dunne did a promo where he talked about being in the business for 18 years and having his first match when he was 12 years old. Says that he's young and bitter. And that the last time he trusted someone, he ended up with a bad nickname and a front row seat to the Sheamus show. Then he says, then Sheamus went home and Ridge ran away when things got hard. And he had to learn how to pull himself together and figure it out. And Trick Williams has all these tools and all this confidence, but he has no instincts. And next week, he's going to teach him how to figure it out. I'm not going to lie to you. I like this. This is good character development. Him saying he's young and bitter. He's only 30. His face is like an oatmeal cream pie. He's only 30. Sheesh. But I like the gimmick. He was talking about, hey, they called me Butch. I like Butch. A lot of people like Butch. They like Butch more than Pete Dunne, that's for sure. Compare Butch fan reaction to Pete Dunne's fan reaction. Outside of NXT UK, where he got massive reactions just from being over there. But since he was in the United States, he's been more over as Butch. But him saying that he has been led astray, when he asked for advice or when he looked to somebody for help, he had to figure it out on his own, who he was, what he was doing, what he wanted to do. And Trick Williams had to do the same thing. That he's got all of these opportunities, he's got all of these skills and all this stuff. You got to be able to make it work instead of calling Ilya Dragunov or coming to Pete Dunne or trying to look for somebody else to help him figure it out. He had to figure it out on his own. So I do like that. I like everything about this. This worked out for me. And it's good character development for Pete Dunne. As somebody who is struggling to get away from what Butch was and who Butch is, it also fully explains why he's feuding with Sheamus. And it's interlocking these stories. And some people have even said this should have been on Raw because it explains why he attacked Sheamus. And I'm like, yeah, it does explain why he attacked Sheamus. And they'll probably run this again, or they'll probably have him explain it on Raw. But they're assuming that there's going to be some crossover between the people who watch Raw and the people who are watching NXT. And also they posted it on social media. So, on Twitter. And I think maybe Instagram. So it's out there why he attacked Sheamus and felt like attacking Sheamus was necessary. So I like this. This was pretty good. Trick Williams accepted the match. So that's good too. Javon Evans told his life story that his earliest memories of his was of his mom and dad fighting, but they came together to watch wrestling. And that they broke up when he was 6, but wrestling was an outlet for him to deal with his anger. It also brought him joy and helped him make friends, and said that he was basically inspired by Jeff Hardy and all this kind of stuff. He still sounds like he's congested. I don't know why he sounds like that, but he does. And it was okay. It told me everything about him, but he needs a character. That boy is bouncy. The young OG. That's okay for now. But we need something with a little bit more legs to it. Something people can really sink themselves into and see themselves into. Or if he's going to go with that, dress a certain way. Dress in a way that would make you stand out. And I'm not talking about cross dressing. We got enough cross dressers running around. But dress in a way where you stand out, you look cool, you look suave or whatever, Just coming out, and I see him basically in sweats or in his gear. He just comes across like a fan in the ring. And look, he's very young, and I want him to tighten up. And he ain't been around that long, but it's time to start thinking about it once you're in the mix. Like, he was in the main event. Like, it's time to start thinking about character stuff and how to make that stuff work. Anyway, the Rascals had a backstage segment because they're in a magic treehouse, so they could be in their treehouse on Tuesdays now. There was a joke about them maybe firing up a little marijuana, but Wesley said they can't do that because it's PG around there. Then they started talking about MSK being a great tag team that never lost the titles, and they were going to shoot a text to Axiom and Nathan Fraser to get a tag team championship match. Axiom accepted that match without telling Nathan Fraser. And then he's also still doing WWE Speed. And Nathan Fraser says, well, brother, you're not locked in. And then Axiom like, I am locked in. He's like, well, you lost in the 6-man tag match. He's like, oh, I'm fine. And that was it. So the tag team championship match is going to happen. I really need the Rascals to win. I'm not really a big fan of Axiom and Nathan Fraser. The team is fine, but I need MSK to win. I can't believe I'm saying that because I hate MSK, but I like the Rascals, so I hope they win. Joe Hendry did a concert. It was funny. He talked about being summoned by the chef in a picture of Shawn Michaels in a chef's hat showed up on this big screen. That was funny. He talked about Booker T being the president of his fan club, and it featured a picture of Booker T in a kilt. That popped the hell out of me. Then he started singing a song about Gallus. So there was 2 songs. There was the first song was Joe Hendry Makes Things Better for everyone in NXT, or something like that. That was pretty good. It was entertaining. And then the second song was about If You Hate Gallus, wave your hands in the air, and got people waving about how much they hate Gallus. Then he talked about Joe Coffey having bad facial hair and being the son of Dutch Mantel. This happened until Gallus eventually attacked him, and then he hit him with his guitar, because he had a guitar. He plays the guitar. And he smashed the guitar over his back. So they didn't go for the head, they went for the back. And Wolfgang, I believe it was Wolfgang, even went through the extra step of putting his hand on the back of Joe Hendry's head to make sure he didn't cave his head in. So they're very nice thugs, hoodlums. What do they call them? I wish Darren Gordon-Hill was here. He would know the appropriate word. What do they call them in England? Is it hoodlums? I don't know. I forget what it's called. But this was a good segment. Joe Hendry then showed fire later by saying that this was an exciting time for him, and he was excited for this. It was great for his career to show people that he belonged here in NXT, and he's going to kick Joe Hendry's ass next week. So he's actually going to wrestle next week. Okay, good. Joe Hendry, they must just just give him the contract now, man. What are we waiting for? Just give him the NXT contract now and let's keep him here. He's good and he's entertaining. Kendall Gray was defeated by Jada Parker. Kendall Gray is an amateur wrestler, apparently. So that means she has the uncanny ability to throw Miles Bourne, who is a fully grown man. So Miles Bourne came out to distract Carly Bright. These people all look the same. That's one of the things I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Jada Parker, of course, is super fine. I mean, I had like all kinds of dirty thoughts in my head about her. But it's just Kendall Gray. I was focusing on her because I was like, have I seen this girl before? The answer is yes. I just don't know where. And maybe it was on this show. Maybe it was on other shows. But she's skinny and she doesn't have much in the way of muscle definition. And she looks just like that other girl, Carly Bright. And they're both kind of skinny and they look the same. Like, okay, she needs some oomph. She doesn't stand out, really. But she apparently has like a wrestling background, and she's not bad in the ring, actually. She's actually okay in the ring in terms of being able to do stuff. And it's just another amateur wrestler, apparently, that's actually okay. You just got to clean her look up. She got to do something different. And Jada Parker, boy, she don't miss. Hey, Jada Parker, she don't miss. Girl, fine. So there's a 6-woman tag that was set up by a social media beef, I guess. JC Jane was on, I guess, the Twitter machine complaining about the tag team titles and them not getting tag team title matches. And Sol Ruka said that they were bitter and jealous of the new girls who got a tag team title match. And, you know, it devolved from there. So Sol Ruka, Lola Vice, and Carmen Petrovich were defeated by Jasmine Nix, JC Jane, and Fallon Henley, where Fallon Henley pinned Carmen Petrovich. Carmen Petrovich has something too. But this match came across very routine, you know, very much a lot of cooperation, a lot of standing around waiting. But that's because this is how matches are put together. Sol Ruka is just such a phenomenal athlete. I mean, she's next level in terms of athletics, man. She did some kind of Phoenix thing off the top rope. It was crazy. It was just insane. Jasmine is actually getting better too. She's actually hitting the Pele kick with a little bit more ease. It doesn't look nearly as choppy as it usually does. So everybody did their part. You know, it was not bad. I can't complain. Tatum Paxley wanted to play with Kalani Jordan. She had dolls, and Kalani Jordan was like, I don't want to play. And then Tatum Paxley wanted to play about the championship. She said, I don't play about that either. But I guess they're going to have a championship match next week. I don't know. It wasn't official, but maybe. Wendy Chu is also there, so all the crazy bras, they're hanging around now. Not good. All right, the main event of the evening, Thea Hale defeated by Roxanne Perez in a really good match for the NXT Women's title. Really good match here. I said that already, but Thea Hale is good. You know, Roxanne Perez, of course, is one of the best in the division. They're giving her a hell of a run. She's just, you know, beating all the girls. But this was a solid match that for a moment in time had me believing that Thea Hale could win. And that's really what you're trying to get across in these championship challenges, is not that, you know, the champion goes out there and wins, but that the contender had a chance. And Thea Hale had the Kimura, the double wrist lock on Roxanne Perez, and the crowd was rocking with it. They thought maybe, you know, we know all the other girls are supposed to be coming in at some point, and we want Roxanne to wrestle them, but in this moment, in this, you know, at this point in time, we're okay with the title switch. And I thought for a second, just for a second, that Thea Hale might win. They also did a vignette earlier, well, not a vignette, but a segment, where Ridge Holland told Thea Hale to do whatever it takes to win. Whatever it takes. And Thea Hale promised that she would, but in the match, she did not. She did not do whatever it took. And instead, she lost to the Pop Rocks. But it was a really good match, and of course, it continues the Chase U story. But I must say, Thea Hale is such a great underdog character that she has to win eventually. You know, eventually she's got to win the title. This is the second or third championship match she's had, and she has been believable as a potential winner in every one. So she's got something going. And I did see a comment that she made earlier this week, her being Thea Hale, that after she had an AEW dark match against Thunder Rosa, Thunder Rosa is the one who put her in contact with the WWE recruiter. I have to put that in quotations because it has been confirmed that guy is a recruiter. It's a big deal with this person too. Apparently he was involved with porn, and people think that this guy, because well, for starters, the guy has a social media account in which he brags about helping certain wrestlers get into WWE, one of whom was Thea Hale. And everybody knows that she was signed when she was like 18, all right? So there's like, oh, there's a porn recruiter in NXT. He's recruiting he's a porn guy. I mean, as if people can't work at one job, quit that job, and then do something else. Like these two things are overlapping at the same time. Maybe the guy did work in porn and then he quit to go work in WWE. We don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of smoke about that whole thing. Bottom line is, Thunder Rosa got in contact with somebody who got Thea Hale into NXT. So we can thank Thunder Rosa for putting Thea Hale on. And it's a pretty cool deal here. She's still very young. She's only like 20, but she's developed pretty quickly, and she's a character. She stands out. Thea Hale is not somebody that's going to mix in with everybody else. That's been one of my problems and a consistent complaint that I've had throughout this episode, but also throughout the entirety of my time on NXT, is sometimes they bring in too many talent that are similar and they start dissolving in water. They all just look the same, sound the same, act the same. It's like, you need to start breaking them up a little bit. Make some of these girls cut their hair. You know, somebody needs to wear makeup. Somebody needs to not wear makeup. Somebody needs to wear a long tight, short tights, something, you know, or somebody needs to be a rock star. Somebody needs to be like a sandwich artist and wear an apron or something. Like, people need to stand out. This is the one beautiful thing about what Vince, his revolution in wrestling. People can call it a cartoon all you want, but going from where you can't tell the difference between who's the job guy and who's the star outside of you watch the show enough to know that Iron Mike Sharp is always going to lose. If he's in the ring with another guy just wearing black trunks and black boots, okay, that's generic. Both two guys wearing black trunks and black boots. But then when you have somebody come out and they're in large, bright yellow, you know, you're like, wow, that guy stands out. He's different. You know, somebody comes out and he's wearing sequins. All right, you know, his laugh is his gimmick or something like that. It's an interesting thing. I'm not saying Knuckleball Schwartz everybody. I'm not saying Mantar the entire roster or anything like that. What I'm saying is sometimes I understand that you want to let them learn the basics, but if they're going to be on television, they need to be different from everybody else so that we can actually fully evaluate them as a talent. You know, sometimes you'll get these people like the Kendall Grays and the Carly Brights and the Brinley Reeses and all these people, they kind of look the same. Their names are ridiculous. You telling me about their college background, but I would have to know everything there is to know about college to know what this means, you know, like, you know, or unless somebody was in the Olympics or something like that, I just kind of throw all that college stuff into the bin because like so, all these people play high school football, almost all of them play, you know, some level of college football. Even the lowliest job guy probably plays some kind of high school sport and some kind of college sport. So. And then the NIL program almost guarantees that pretty much everybody is some kind of phenomenal athlete. So unless your gimmick is like you were on an Olympic team, like, you know, Chad Gable, or you were like a really high level amateur wrestler like Tamara Mensah Stock, who was a gold medalist in the Olympics in wrestling, female, she's a wrestler in NXT. Unless you're like that level, I really don't care if you are a gymnast or a volleyball player or anything. I really don't give a shit. You need to just have a character. You need to stand out. Go watch a movie and imitate that movie. I don't care if it's baby's first gimmick and you're not going to stick with it forever. As long as you stand out and look different, then people can truly pay attention and evaluate you as a talent. People, when you see that you're bland and you look just like somebody else and you sound like somebody else, they tune out when you come in. The important bit should be to get people's attention immediately through the visual and then coax them in through your work and through your promos and character and personality and how you carry yourself. And then you can grow from there, you know. But the first thing should be the look. And there's too many people out here who have a similar look. Otherwise, I really enjoy NXT. Of course, it's my favorite wrestling show of the week. The main event was really good. The women's 6-man tag was also very solid. The Heritage Cup match was solid too. I had fun with Joe Hendry's concert. I think it really nailed that he fits in WWE. There was some hatred from people online. Not like fans or anything like that, but like Josh Alexander, who he's feuding with in TNA, posted a picture of Elias and said that Elias is greater than Joe Hendry. Like, that was fun, you know, showing that he was watching. And some other people who are Joe Hendry haters, and not legitimate haters, but like other wrestlers who have been feuding with him or talking trash to him, really showing that they watched it. And so this is kind of like a backhanded version of support. Like, they actually watched you on NXT, so they're proud of you, but they're feuding with you on TV, so they're going to shit on you a little bit. So that's good, you know. And I never really thought to compare it to Elias. I think Elias is next level when it comes to that kind of stuff. Joe Hendry is pretty good. It was fun. It was entertaining. I wouldn't put him on Elias level, though. Like, Elias is like a couple of notches under the Rock in terms of, you know, live performance with a guitar and being obnoxious and everything. But this is the first time Joe Hendry's done it on WWE TV. It's not the first time he's done it, because he's done it a couple of music videos in TNA, but it's the first time he's done it on WWE. And maybe over time it'll get better, but this was pretty good. It was fun. The Gallus part with them coming out and beating them up was fine. Nobody came out to help Joe Hendry. That was one thing that kind of bugged me. I'm like, nobody went out there to help him. But then I was thinking at the same time, let Gallus get the heat, because maybe you can have somebody help him next week. So that could be fine. So overall, I really didn't have a problem with the show. I thought it was very solid from top to bottom, except for Shawn Spears was on my television, which made me want to tip my screen over. Other than that, it was fine. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.